and really great to be here. A lot of you folks know that I've been, on the outside supporting and a huge fan for just over 20 years now, Primerica. Done a lot of research into the Primerica business opportunity. Those of you who have seen me speak at different events, you know that I'm a massive fan of the business opportunity. And I just have so much respect for what you folks do to help families across the kitchen table develop their financial freedom. And today, what I thought I'd share is some thoughts on achieving financial freedom, not just for your, obviously you're working as, with your securities license, we're doing this with your clients, but how do you actually achieve this for yourself by building a great business with great people? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen. I'll just share some thoughts on this because, as I said, financial freedom. Look, financial freedom is ultimately the cornerstone of Primerica, helping families, as we all know that. And what I love, I got so much respect for Primerica that you guys get paid in direct proportion to the number of families you help across the kitchen table and the number of your recruits that you help them develop a serious business with. And I think that's just such a powerful model. Now, I want you to imagine for just a second, just imagine wherever you are right now in your business. Imagine if you had an additional 10 to 20 more people that are just even half as good as you are in securities. Taking your business wherever you are now, and I'm not, some people, they're really focused on building a book of business. Others are focused on building a business. But imagine if everyone got hyper-focused on going beyond building a book of business to building a true team that each of your teammates are building their own book of business while growing their business. Just imagine for a moment what your business and what your life would look like. And I want to share some thoughts on that for you. You see, some people, I think, what they do in recruiting, it's a little bit like spaghetti marketing. You kind of throw things up against the wall and see what sticks. Now, I respect the notion of the numbers, okay? Those are well-established averages. And I do believe that if you go after enough quantity, quality will rise to the top. However, I do believe there are some smart things you can do to impact the quality of the people you bring into your organization. There's some real challenges, folks, of building a team. And you guys know this, those who've been around for a while. Look at the time and the energy and the effort it takes and money to go out and find these people, to recruit them, hire them, train them, and develop them. And then, as you know, like a lot of industries, there's a high rate of attrition, and people will either outright quit or they go MIA, there's dark houses, all this stuff. So it can be very frustrating. And then if your securities license and you really start developing yourself, you already know that the compensation package is quite attractive. And then again, what can happen is people can start to change their focus on just going out and writing more business on their own pen. Now that you can get a great income on that. And I'm not knocking that for anybody, but by definition, what is a real business? A real successful business is obviously somewhere where you get passive income. So it's not just relying on your effort. You're asleep, you're in Cancun, you've got a flu, whatever. So you're not working your business because you're doing something else and it's still making you money through passive income. I think that's really the goal, I think, for most people. That's what you want to do. And I want to offer some thoughts on how you can do that and to try to avoid the trap of just putting all your energies on building your book of business. So that's sort of a key point. We call this buyer's remorse. You want to beware of buyer's remorse. In the world of consumerism, there is something called buyer's remorse. That's when the buyer buys something and later on they regret it. Well, buyer's remorse, same sort of thing. Someone got all fired up about something. They went and joined a business, a company, an opportunity or something. And for whatever reason, they regret it. That's a buyer's remorse. And they got this silly little cartoon there. It says, experience. Are you kidding? I've had 12 jobs this year alone. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of a turnover issue there that you don't want to have. So I'm going to share some thoughts to do some key activities, I think, that will really help you avoid this. And I want to talk about the danger of averages, okay? Now, the last number I heard, it may have changed a little bit, but essentially I hear from Primerica that the average annual compensation of a life license representative in Primerica is about $7,000. Whatever the actual number is, it doesn't really matter, but somewhere around there, right? So think about it, that's an average. It means some people and a lot of people on this call are making a lot more than that. But it also means, because it's an average, there are some people that aren't making anything. So mathematically, you figure out the average. But here's the silliness on average. And I want you to just think about this, okay? Think later on tonight. At the end of your day, you're back at home, you're in your kitchen. I want you to imagine taking off your shoes and your socks, and then you take one of your bare feet and you shove it into the super hot oven, and then you take your other foot and you put it into the freezing cold freezer. On average, you're comfortable. I know it sounds ridiculous, but think about it. I think averages can be a very dangerous mindset, because here's the point. When we get too focused on averages, unemployment's up or down on average. Sales are up and down on average. See, what happens is all too often people will get so focused on that average that it almost becomes like a mental target that they're going towards. And it also can become, in some cases, a cop-out and excuse of why you're not doing better than average. From my way of thinking in business, I think it behooves us. I think it's a good idea to know where the averages lie, but I believe in making a conscious decision to drive the average up. And how you drive the average up is by being much better than average. So here's the thought on this. Being average means what? It means being the best of the worst or the worst of the best. And I don't think, personally, we only have so much time on this planet. I don't personally think that's acceptable. So I'm always in my business, and everyone I'm coaching and consulting, I'm helping them get beyond average. So some thoughts on that. Now, Google, okay? Google is like any other organization. They are constantly recruiting because they want to grow. Now, look at this. This is the cornerstone of how Google does recruiting. And it's a very interesting thing to note. What they do is they hire a new Google person. That person successfully will go through their initial training and orientation. At the end of that orientation, and they're now considered a Googler, so they're part of the Google team, right? What they'll do, they'll say, okay, we're always looking for good teammates, they'll say. Of all the people that don't work within Google right now, who do you know is the best performer? Who is the most innovative? Who is the best team player? Who's the best manager or leader? Who's the best at working under pressure? Listen to this. They're not asking. There's no focus on who's the best coder, who's the best software architect. They understand that, that stuff can be learned, or those are some foundational skills that a lot of people have or whatever. They're focusing on other elements. And that is this simple thing. It's a referral. It's an internal referral of finding the best people with the characteristics they care about. So after working with Primericans and working with literally well over 80 of the $1 million earners personally over the years, I've come to some conclusions. It's all about having the solution. What is the solution in this garden? I'm talking about the solution is to be able to attract, recruit, train, develop, and retain great people with great character. And what does that look like? So I've got a little acronym here as a reminder, and people by all means take notes, take pictures of any of this stuff, okay? Have your cameras ready. But G stands for, if you're looking for a great recruit, okay? Start off with someone who is goal-oriented. Anybody who's goal-oriented and has a clarity in their life of their why, all they're looking for is the right sort of vehicle, the right opportunity that's going to accelerate their ability to achieve that goal. You find someone who doesn't have a whole lot of goals, you're going to be very frustrated with this person. Next thing, Primerica. Primerica, it's a financial services giant, but at the real crux of it, Primerica is a people business. And I know you folks know that. So what does that mean? It means you're looking for people. You need to be looking for people that are relationship builders, that have those solid communication skills. Next thing, E, that they're enthusiastic learners with a coachable mindset. Look, the vast majority of people will not know the foundational items, the fundamentals of finances or investing. They won't know this stuff. But if they have the right mindset towards learning and they're coachable, you can train them up pretty quickly on this. Also, their attitude, an attitude of being client-centered by always putting the customer first. This is what Primerica has always done 100% of the time. So you want someone that's going to have that shared philosophy. And lastly, again, we're talking about people's money. There's financial oversight and all this kind of stuff. We need people that are going to be trustworthy. So here's the big thing, really. What I'm saying is if you really want to be above average, they talk about how many people out of 10 are likely to be a stud. We all know the numbers, right? But in reality, there are some leaders that are actually outperforming that. There are some that are not getting 1 in 10. They'd be lucky if they get 1 in 40. Okay, so that's just an average. So what I'm saying here, if you want to increase your opportunity of getting better recruits to actually build your dream business, what you really need to do is hire for character, then do the training and development for competency. So character first. Give me the person with the right character who's great by this definition, and I can work with them. I can train them. I can develop them. And quite frankly, it'll be worth my energy. But if they're lacking in that area, I can dump all this time and energy, and they're still going to go dark house on me, and they're going to disappoint. So I just want to share that with you. There's some great targeting questions. First of all, ask yourself, and my suggestion is take my acronym of GREAT. I've already defined it, but maybe define it a little bit even more for your personal practice. Say, okay, of all the people you know on the planet, using this refined targeting concept of what is this great characteristics that we're looking for, who do you know that's not in Primerica that would fit that? Then ask your clients. So you've got such a great, these are like acres of diamonds. Your long-standing relationship with your clients, they trust you, you're handling their money, right? And ask them the same question. Who do they know that have these great characteristics? And then it's a question of connecting with them. And these questions are familiar, right? Who of these people, once you've now identified the right people, who are looking for a career change, who are looking for some sort of a part-time opportunity, particularly to get some additional funds. And this is where it really works. If they've got a shortfall, or they really want to double down, or they see that their finances are not what they should be to be able to retire financially free, if they have that motivation, if that's part of their goal, these people will be great candidates for recruits because they already have these elements. And again, they'll be able to share their own personal testimony of how Primerica helped get them back onto that fast track. The rule of 70-30. This is so important. I've gone out with meetings with different Primerican friends and folks I know, and they'll say, okay, well, I'm looking at somebody as a potential recruit. You got the IBA forms all ready to go and everything else, but you're saying you're going to have an interview. We're going to have an interview conversation, and this is how it goes in most people. It's like they'll ask maybe one little question about what they want to do out of life, and then boom, it's sell, 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 sell. Sell the Primerica dream, sell the crusade, sell, sell, sell. Here's the thing. If you're telling, you're selling. What I'm going to suggest is this. If you want to get a higher quality of potential recruit, tap into the rule of 70-30. And I teach this to my clients all over the planet. Stop selling the opportunity, okay, at this point. Start asking the questions. So the rule of 70-30 is this. When you're really legitimately doing an interview means you're asking questions and you're listening to answers. So the rule of thumb is this. As the interviewer, do your level best to speak 30% or less. Because as I'm speaking, I'm not learning anything. But if I ask an intelligent question, and then listen, I'm going to get some great insights as to what is triggering this person to consider a career change. Why are they looking at investing some of their downtime to do a part-time hustle or business or whatever it is? What is their motivations? What's their character like? See, you're going to be able to find a much, much better person if you're disciplined to do a proper interview. And like I said, this is just a little bit of psychology here, but understanding this and applying this for you, you're going to find a higher caliber of people that will be worth your time to invest in. Otherwise, if it's spaghetti marketing kind of thing, you say, well, give everybody a chance, but then you get burnt out because, there's only so much time in a day to really develop people. And if most people are going to disappoint you, well, then I can see the fallback. Well, I'm just going to focus on securities and do an occasional replacement of a policy. But that's not really building a dream team for yourself or a dream business. Now, the book, I'm going to just quickly talk about it here. It is called Decode Successful Investing Secrets and Becoming Financially Free. The decode, what we mean by the word decode is we're trying to demystify, clarify, bring out the secret. So it's a decoding. Now, any of you that are on the call, if you guys are anybody who's senior and you've been around for a long time as a successful investor, I guarantee you, if you get this book and read the 64 pages, there's probably nothing new in that book for you. There's probably not new information. Now, the way the information has been packaged might be very new, okay? But there's nothing fundamentally new. But the key thing is people, as you know, a lot of people are just feel overwhelmed. I'm not talking about people in the business here. I'm talking about potential clients. They're overwhelmed about finances. They think it's so confusing. They don't know where to start. So this demystifies in only 64 pages. And that's important because people are so busy right now. People don't have the attention span. The book truly does cover every single fundamental principle of successful investing. So it really does educate people very quickly. And it's absolutely full of visuals and anecdotes and ready-to-use stories and that are very relatable that we actually encourage them. Get comfortable with this stuff and use these tools. Why? To communicate to other people these principles of the foundations. I have never been licensed, okay, as an advisor. I got a pretty reasonable idea, but I haven't lived the life across the kitchen table. So I ran the entire book by Eddie, by Drew, and also Bill Whittle to get feedback, to make sure that this was going to be meaningful stuff to help my friends in Primerica. And they gave me feedback, and I made some changes because I wanted this to be the most impactful tool possible. So what are these decodes? Well, these are 10 little chapters, if you will, throughout the book. So I'm going to just go through this super quick so you can understand what the contents are really about. So first D is destination oriented. You need to know where you're going financially. You got to have some goals. You want to delay your gratification, live within your means. Diminishing needs, we're talking about, life insurance, buy term, invest the difference, all this kind of important stuff. How to destroy any dangerous debt, diversifying and reducing risk, deferring taxes and doubling your money, ASAP, Rule 72, and all that great stuff. Dollar cost averaging. Now, another particular interesting section is number 8, delegating to a financial advisor. I very clearly spell out why people should never go alone, why they should go and work with a trusted financial advisor, how to look for an advisor, the benefits, and so on and so forth. And it really spells it out very clearly, the benefits of being guided by that financial coach. Developing financial, emotional maturity and financial literacy. They are related topics, but they're not the same thing. It's one thing to understand, to use a Primerica term, how money works. But unless you can control your emotions as an investor, invariably you're going to buy too high and you're going to sell when it's too low. And lastly, like anything else, when you got a game plan, you need to be disciplined to stick with it. So that's the contents of the book. And I want to talk about some more fundamentals, okay? Here's the reality, okay? And I come from a banking world, and I know there are financial organizations around the planet. I work in 57 countries, and I don't just exclusively work with financial services, but I work with a lot of financial services folks over the past 33 years. And I know this to be a fact, that successful advisors, not only do they understand and apply these principles in their own life, but the key is they're able to naturally communicate every single foundational fundamental to other people, to other new colleagues, teammates, and certainly to consumers. And what sort of foundational or fundamentals are we talking about? Well, for example, diversifying risks, dollar cost averaging, deferring taxes and tax-free strategies, the 4 risks of money. People need to understand this stuff. The Monte Carlo simulation, what's the impact to the consumer, to that family on withdrawal rates, and what's the likelihood that they might outlive their money and those implications? Generational wealth, the whole wall of wealth that's coming along, right? And all these inheritance, and the need for emotional intelligence. We're actually talking about having an honest conversation to help people understand the relationship with money so they don't engage in self-sabotaging behaviors because of some hang-ups that they're going to have. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other fundamentals. Now, the whole book was written to actually deal with these fundamentals. I don't go deep dive in the book. It's only 64 pages. In fact, I don't want to do that because people don't have the attention span. And quite frankly, I just want to open the reader's mind so that they can then now go have that conversation with their trusted advisor and now start digging into the specifics of their family needs. So it's so important. Communication, folks. Communication is absolute key as a financial advisor. So what are we talking about? It requires 4 fundamentals as a minimum. Yes, first of all, yeah, you need to know what you're talking about. Absolutely. You got to have the skills and the knowledge. Absolutely. But that doesn't matter if you've memorized everything that's ever been known about investing. If you cannot communicate it well, naturally, and easily understood in plain ordinary English so that anyone can understand. So first of all, being a great communicator means the ability to ask the right questions at the right time so you can really open up this potential client or existing client to understand their needs and be able to help them out. Using powerful visuals. Visuals are such a great way to explain how things happen. Storytelling. You know, if you load people up with a bunch of data, first of all, they gloss over, and too much data is sort of like hard selling, but storytelling. People will naturally buy into what you're saying, particularly if they're common sense, relatable stories. Using anecdotes, same kind of thing. You need to be equipped. And going back to the book, what I did is I worked very diligently, and I also got great feedback to make sure that it had enough appropriate things, ready to use tools so that advisors, particularly new advisors, can go and properly communicate these principles, these fundamentals to other people. You know, and I've had a couple people actually, the book's only been around for a week. The book just came out very, very recently. But a couple people that have read through the book a couple of times, they've actually said to me, this is their words, okay? They're saying, you're talking about the learning curve, how long it takes for someone to learn securities. They're saying that if someone really digs into this book, really understands these fundamentals, this book can actually cut the learning curve for new people by about a half a year, by 6 months, because it really spells out the fundamentals. As an earlier speaker was saying, you don't have to, especially in the new days, you don't have to be the expert. You got a bunch of other experts back in your office, your upline, and through home office and the suppliers. So you won't be challenged. As long as you understand the fundamentals and you can communicate them, you're going to be off to an incredibly fast start. Bill Whittle, what he said about the book was very nice. He says, you hit it out of the park. He says, everyone who offers financial advice, they need this book. They need to study up on it to grow their business. It's great for client gift referral generator, recruitment, but it's also a fabulous way not only to recruit, but to develop yourself and your teammates. So that was Bill Whittle's comment on this book just about 2 weeks ago when he read it. So how can you use the book? Again, I know some people already have the book. So if you already have the book, great, but use it more. It's more than a book. It's actually a business development toolkit if you know how to use it. So first of all, if someone's not yet securities licensed, but I'm talking about as you're expanding your team and you're growing a real business, you're going to have a bunch of people you're going to be recruiting in. They should be exposed to this material so that they become much more comfortable and they get to the decision that, first of all, they as an investor need to invest and apply these principles themselves. They need to go and talk to other families across the kitchen table, but also they need to be motivated to say, I can't wait to go get licensed. I want to go and offer a comprehensive approach to the full F&A and really provide the full solution to families. It's a powerful resource for experienced advisors to equip and empower their teams. And again, like anything else, you want to first of all master. You want to understand to the point of mastery the information and then apply it to yourself, follow the principles in your own life so you get the benefit of this, and then teach all these fundamentals to other people, clients, and to your organization. It's a fabulous way to help new people increase their confidence and their beliefs about Primerica, what the company stands for, what the team stands for, and the value of the M&A, the value of the great products and services that you have to offer. Obviously, personal production will go up, great client gift, a referral generator, just an all-around tool that, if it's used correctly, can help explode your business. Now, the book, if you want to get a copy of the book, you can go through Digital PFS. Please take a photo of this. If you get a copy of the book, basically it's about 40 some odd percent. The retail price is about $18. And I know a lot of RVPs have actually been buying caseloads of it. But again, it's not about dumping a bunch of books on people. Don't waste your money if you're not going to use it. Go buy a nice coffee instead. But if you're going to invest in these books, have a strategy on how you're going to strategically use this as a business development tool to move forward. So again, the only way, it's not on Amazon, it's nowhere else in the world right now. I did this intentionally in working with my publisher. I said, I don't want it released anywhere else for at least 6 weeks, because I want my friends in Primerica to have first access to this information so that they can be the keepers of the information and take the information to families and new potential recruits as they help a bunch of people and grow their business. So again, if you want to order any books, go to digitalpfs.com. I'm going to stop sharing there in just a second. I don't know. I'm certainly prepared to answer any questions. If there's anything, the book is not rewriting all of history. The beautiful part about the fundamentals is that these are principles that stand the test of time. So here it is. I mean, honestly, look, let's talk reality. I've never been in Primerica. That's not a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It's just a fact. I've never been in Primerica. I haven't been coached by corporate. I don't own shares, but I really believe in all the principles that Primerica teaches. And in my own words, I'm just reaffirming exactly the great information that all of you folks are sharing across the kitchen table. But it's kind of nice to have an independent third-party best-selling author say the same thing, slightly different words, but saying the same thing. I think that's important. And I think people would be wise to leverage on that and don't overcomplicate things.